Mm.
And welcome, folks, to another edition of Steady Dropping Dimes. We are back. I'm off the road. Devin Gardner is on the road. Daniel
Mhm.
Horton looks like he's about to go on the. Oh, look at this dude. Look at this. I, this is when Devin Gardner goes on the road. Look at him.
Nice.
He's in the penthouse. He's in the pen. Are we surprised? Are we not surprised
Hey,
that Devin
DG, turn
Gardner's in the
around. Let's do the show the other way so we can see it too.
No, y'all don't need
Yeah.
to. Y'all don't need to
I,
be involved with
we're not
this.
surprised.
Y'all don't want none of this. Y'all don't want none of this.
We're not. No one's surprised that Devin Gardner's in the penthouse, right? Like we know
Just
this, right?
relax.
Of course he is.
Yeah,
We got a
he
lot
Uh,
of
young king, man. Live it up, brother.
Yeah, I'm proud of him. I told y'all when we watch DG have success, I feel like we are having success. I'm
Hmm.
living vicariously through my young brother,
uh, to be
right?
clear, I'm technically working. Technically, I'm at Big Ten spring meetings. However, we only had it one day, and so now just enjoying the vacation.
Nice.
I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you, young fella. Folks, steady dropping dimes back with you after a brief hiatus. I was on the road all last week. It was Baltimore. It was Mobile, Alabama. It was Atlanta. See, I'm mad at Daniel Horton. I'm mad at Daniel Horton.
What they do?
Daniel, I thought I was going to see 6 guys in Atlanta in 2 days. Man, the coaches in Atlanta were laughing at me. They was like, "Oh man, who told you were going to be able to do that?
Right.
Who, who told you were going to be able to go from Kell to Carrollton
Oh no,
and then back across to Grayson in one day?"
no. You was
Carrollton is
at
real nice,
Grayson?
by the way.
No, I didn't make
Oh,
it to Grayson. That's the
I'm about
point.
to say I live a block from Grayson. If you would
Yeah,
have made the Grayson, boy,
yeah. He said, "Who told you were going to be able to do that?"
nah,
He said, "Man, that's it. You can't do that.
nah,
That- that's
traffic way too bad.
that's impossible. Ain't no way you're gonna be able to do that."
Hey
So
Sam, I'm gonna give you a quick point real quick. So we had a tournament this weekend. I had to drive an hour and a half each way for one game just because of traffic here. So yeah, you were never gonna make it. That's normal. You're never gonna make it.
but I love Atlanta. If I had to live in the South, there are only 2 places in the South I would live: Charlotte and Atlanta. Those are the
I
only two
live in
places.
Charlotte. Charlotte, I don't even look at Charlotte as the South, really. I look at that as
Mm,
like mid South. It ain't quite
yeah,
South. It's nice.
yeah,
I love
Yeah,
Charlotte.
sure.
yeah. So, Steady Dropping Dimes brought to you by our great sponsors, the Ann Arbor Sports Commission. We are going to have, of course, when we talk about the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, all of the great events. When you talk about the sporting events that come to Ann Arbor, the Sports Commission, they do a great job of helping bring those events to Ann Arbor, to the Washtenaw County area. And of course, folks, when you are looking for places to stay, places to eat, recommendations, accommodations, Ann Arbor Sports Commission, they are your resource for all things in those categories. And you can go to their website, annarbor.org/sports commission, for those recommendations. You can look at their events calendar for the events that are coming to town. Of course, folks, we have made it a habit over the last few weeks of having guests from the Sports Commission on. Of course, Megan Hughes, the director of the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, has been a frequent guest, and she's going to be on with us today, talking about a study that the Sports Commission conducted about the economic impact of Michigan football.
Mm.
Now,
Wow.
yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
When
The
it's good,
economic
it's good.
the economic impact of Michigan football is immense. So how much money comes into the Washtenaw County? Not the folks within the Washtenaw County area spend a great deal of money as well, but they wanted to know how much money comes from outside of Washtenaw County into this area. And I mean, folks, $235 million comes into this area. And so they go into the nuts and bolts and the details of how they commissioned this study, the details of where all of that money is spent, the different areas in which that money is spent, the engine, all the engines that are driven by those dollars. Michigan football is a machine. It's not just the impact on the university. It's all of the industries around Michigan football that are impacted. So when we talk about NIL and how important the success of Michigan football is, it so much is riding.
And you know what else, Sam? You know what else? I've been doing a few studies myself. And of that many millions, about 89 of it is going straight to Sam Webb. That's the study I did. That's what I'm saying. So we appreciate y'all. Keep on. Sam is, is going straight into that left pocket on Sam. The left pocket, So.
I wish I was getting some of that. And look, obviously, Steady Droppin Dimes, the Michigan Insider. I mean, the industry, everything I do, Michigan football. I make no bones, but I make no mistake. The majority of what I do is based on Michigan football.
The study shows 89 million.
Come on, man.
The study shows
89 million.
Hey, when you say the study shows, it got to be true. The study shows. Now it was my study, but hey, it don't matter. It's just a study. 89 million that thing going to old Samuel Jackson Webb III, aka Two Straps.
But this is why. You talk about the impact of NIL, the importance of NIL, and the players getting their share. And we're going to talk about the NCAA, by the way, going away as an enforcement arm, as a part of this NIL settlement agreement that should be approved here in very short order. As part of that, the NCAA is going to be relinquishing its power as an enforcement arm. And they're going to be naming a CEO that is going to be in charge of all punishment. We're going to talk about that later in the show. So save that down the line. Who should be the CEO? We'll get to that a little bit later. But it's important that players have a say. I mean, that's why I think even with what we're talking about now, I don't think it's going to stand because still, players don't have a say in any of that. That's a discussion for later in the show. Right now, I want to get to a topic we've debated, discussed, tossed back and forth a lot here on Droppin Dimes. And that's the back and forth, the tug of war, the battle royal, the rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Now, I think Devin and I have both talked about Caitlin Clark being the biggest superstar in the history of women's basketball.
She's women's basketball's Michael Jordan.
I think our esteemed colleague.
He differs. Let's just say it, to put it nicely, he differs.
He has disagreed with us vehemently.
You know,
right?
Let's not sugarcoat it. He vehemently disagrees. Let's just go there. He rebukes it in the name of Jesus.
He does.
What he said.
He does not agree at all. Who did you say? What'd you say? You said Cynthia Cooper?
Don't matter. Whoever.
Yeah.
If you're talking about marketability and all, it's girls that's playing right now that got more marketability and more commercials than her.
That's not what we. Well, no, marketability.
To be clear, I'm very sure that she's not doing commercials until she does what she's supposed to do, like she should. But go ahead.
I don't want to go off on this tangent. But what?
Because we go. No, don't Sam. Don't do it. Don't do it, Sam. We never.
Hey, look, y'all are on her.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
There are
Cam,
other,
don't
Marketability.
do it.
as far as the WNBA goes right now, there are other women in the WNBA right now that are pressing the envelope as far as marketability, and they have just as many advertisements, as, if not more than her. I'm not. That's all I'm saying.
The
You
Indiana
can watch
Fever
you.
has
You can
2
watch
not
TV.
nationally televised games. 2.
I
The most in the
don't.
history of the WNBA.
No, I'm talking about as far as individual. I'm not talking about her team. I'm talking about individual women down here in
It's because of
Atlanta. I don't
her.
see. I mean, I'm talking about who has commercials and all that shoe deals.
You
Like
do
it's a lot of people.
you
It's
do
different.
realize
Like no, she pushes the needle too. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
not
saying there's
you.
other women that are contributing to that as well. That have contributed to
That
it. And
is
Angel Reese is one of
other women that are contributing to it also.
them.
But
Yeah.
she is the biggest driver of ratings in the history of women's basketball.
Okay. So did the WNBA finals have
Daniel,
no, listen, no, don't cut me off. Did they have historical ratings last year in the WNBA finals?
Daniel,
No, answer the question. How were the ratings last year in the W? I think they had a really big crowd, and she wasn't in it.
I
but
ain't gonna lie.
you
I ain't watched
realize
because she ain't play.
you
I did.
realize
That was my first time watching in years.
Daniel, you realize that everything, the attention on the WNBA, even when she doesn't play, all of that attention flows from her.
No, it
Even when she's
doesn't, Sam.
even when she's not playing.
No, it doesn't. I've
It's
I've seen. I've
yes,
seen. No, it
it's a
doesn't. It's
function of her
okay.
presence in the league. You
All right,
realize that, right?
I don't want to keep talking about that because,
Hey
like I said, I
Daniel, I'm
live in
just
Atlanta. I live in Atlanta, and there's a lot of these young black basketball players, females, that are getting marketed, and have, like I said, I see a lot of. I see, to be honest, where I live, I see more. What's the young lady that plays for LSU right now? I see just as much of her as Flau'jae. I see just as much of her as I do Caitlin Clark. So I'm not saying
yeah.
that I'm not saying that she's not a big draw. You know, so I'm just saying that there's other
Hey
girls who are
Daniel,
moving the needle as well in women's basketball right now. That's all.
there's one thing that I just think you just gotta look at. All the commercials, that little stuff, all that is cool. But the TV money is the real money. The TV deals. And the Fever have
Yeah.
the most nationally televised games in the history of the WNBA. It ain't because of the Fever. It's
Yeah, for
because of
sure.
Caitlin Clark.
They're doing they okay. I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I'm just saying there's a lot of other women in the WNBA. Aaliyah Boston, another one. They're contributing to the success and the popularity of that league. It's not just one
Not
player.
not
So that's
debating that.
all.
Not debating that there are
And
other
it's and
women.
it's
Yeah,
and it's not
Clyde
like she's
Clyde
and it's
Drexler was good back then when Michael Jordan
but it's
was his
not but it's
driver.
not like she's hit like okay. I'm not gonna I don't want to
Clyde
keep
the
talking about
Glide. I
this.
like Clyde
Look,
the
I don't
Glide.
want to keep talking about this because like it's I'm not a guy that's like y'all in that area, y'all in the Midwest, so y'all are amongst the craze. Like I live in Dallas. I'm back and forth between Dallas and Atlanta. Caitlin
Little
Clark don't get that
flex.
much play down
That
here.
boy
I'm
got
just
two
telling you.
cribs. Two cribs.
Okay, I'm just telling you. She
Well,
don't get a whole
listen,
lot of talk. We don't talk
listen.
about Caitlin Clark a lot down here.
There is there is not a debate about how impactful her presence on in this game
Yeah, I'm not
has been.
debating that.
There is a before Caitlin Clark and there is an after Caitlin Clark, and
Oh man,
it is not about, in my opinion, her.
what? So girls like Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird, they didn't move the needle for the WNBA
I
when they
didn't.
came into. That's crazy. He said there's a before
I didn't
Caitlin
say.
Clark and
I
an
did
after
not.
Caitlin Clark. Like
Hey Daniel,
Sue
Daniel,
Bird and
you
all
just
these
your
guys women didn't exist
Daniel,
before her.
Daniel,
Man, that's crazy.
yourself. You just said
That's
you hadn't
crazy.
watched the WNBA finals and can't
Daniel,
remember.
Yeah, but that when
from a
Diana
from
Taurasi then was on top, I was watching it.
yeah, yes, I while Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi, Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, all
Rebecca
of the greats.
Lobo.
These
It's a
are
lot of these
all great
girls.
players, but none of them move the meter like Caitlin Clark.
What?
They
So
were
That
what?
is
buying
Okay, I'm
commercial.
asking a question. What about Caitlin Clark moves the needle? Answer that question, and we could before if we want to. I'm asking you.
so. Listen,
What
listen.
makes you say that? What about Caitlin
Let me
Clark moves the needle?
listen to. Oh, let me
Well,
finish.
charter flights
I am
after
not.
Clayton Clark,
I am
No,
not saying.
TV deals after
I am
Clayton
not
Clark.
saying. I am not saying that she's a better player than them. So this is not a debate about
okay.
talent. So let's not conflate the conversation. I'm
So
not
so
in
so
the
so the
conflate or confuse.
The Dallas franchise moving 2 games to that are not against Indiana, by the way. Moving, I think. Matter of fact, let me stop. I think one of them is moving 2 games to a bigger arena. That has something to do. That has something to do with Caitlin Clark, right? Or
Daniel,
because or because they have a girl that's
Daniel,
already all world and then just drafted another. I'm just trying to
Daniel.
figure out:
They
is it
they
because of
are
Caitlin
they
Clark, or is it
are
because of
they, they have a new CBA. The financial the financials of the league have changed. The TV ratings have changed. The entire dynamics of the league have changed largely because of her
one
presence.
person? Okay, if you say
Largely
so. Hey,
because
look,
of her
I
presence.
look. I'm
Not
just, if you say
only
so.
not only because of her presence, but largely because of her presence. Not her
Dude,
alone.
the
Hey,
perfect
look, I'm
comparison is
not.
Michael
Hey, look, if
Jordan.
y'all
Like
say so,
Michael
if y'all
Jordan
say
didn't do it
so,
by
cool.
himself. Michael Jordan didn't do it by himself. It was other people in the NBA that made it
I'm
super
about to
popular.
say it was 2 guys that
However,
he came into the league that were doing okay.
that's what I'm saying. It wasn't
Right.
just Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan was the main character of the movie.
Right. So again, make no mistake, her star power and the time that she came along have made this league more relevant than it has ever been. Now she actually has a foil too. She has a rival. You have to have a counter to really make this thing go. And
Bird and Magic.
that counter is Angel Reese, who is dynamic, who is a great player in her own right. Right? She is a double machine. She is a champion. She is a big time ball player. And she is writing chapters in a dynamic career too. And so we have seen this rivalry take many different turns. First in college, as Angel was able to get the better of her, and she was cast as a villain in many of these chapters, and has been done so again as they've gotten off into their pro careers.
Mm.
And so in this latest turn, Caitlin Clark, in a retaliatory fashion, dishes out a flagrant foul. Now, I find this to be a refreshing instance of basketball. I loved it. I loved that Caitlin Clark went over and gave her a forearm shove. You know why? Because I think Kumbaya basketball is a modern, is a modern, watered down version of patty cake. I don't want to see that kind of basketball. See, because when I was a kid, Magic versus Bird, Pistons versus Bulls. When guys didn't like each other, that's when rivalries were good. That's when basketball was good. When you knew the Pistons didn't like the Celtics, when the Lakers didn't like the Celtics, that's when it really went down. I don't want my
Mm.
I don't want it. I don't want you singing "We Are the World" on the basketball court. I ain't like it when Isaiah kissed Magic before the game. I don't want to see that. So when Caitlin went over and gave her a forearm shiver, I was like, yeah, man, you know, that's what you want to see.
All right, so
That's great
for
for the
me
game.
though, for me, I agree with you wholeheartedly. But for me, I think people aren't watching the whole play, right? And this is something that me, as when I was a basketball player, this is something I certainly would have done too if I was Caitlin Clark. So Angel Reese, to get the rebound, pushes. I think it might have been Leah Boston. She pushes somebody in the back, but the ref don't call it, and you can see Caitlin Clark say, "What the? Why you ain't called about?" And then she's about to lay it up, and then she give her a nice hard foul, and she explained it as a take foul, and that's what it is. It's a basketball play. And then when she's fouling her, Angel Reese certainly flops. She flails her arms in the air and all that, which is also a part of basketball, right? So, in my opinion, it's a basketball play to you push my teammate. They didn't call a foul, so now I'm going to hack you real hard, right? And you want to sell the foul, so you're going to flop a little bit. So, I just, like you just illustrated, it's great for basketball. I love it. I love to see animosity. I love to see people going at each other. And it's almost like getting a chance to see somebody. They got off court issues, which it could be inflated on how much they don't like each other off the court or whatever. But we know that they've had this spat for quite some time. And for it to continue to come into play in games, that is beautiful. And it is fun. And it is why the WNBA will continue to grow, because people are going to watch to see that kind of stuff along with the talented basketball players.
Yeah, man. Look, what do we talk about in the chat, by the way? The game, the WNBA. I didn't say it made money, but it is the game. The WNBA is growing. It is growing, and I didn't say it had gotten to the point where it was profitable, but it is ahead of where it was. It is growing year over year.
Mm-hmm.
It is getting better year over year. It is better since Caitlin Clark came around. Ratings are up since Caitlin Clark came around. So that makes the point. You were talking about Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. Where was it before Caitlin
Sam,
Clark?
there wasn't. It's a totally different time era we living in that contributes to that. That's not just on one girl, one person. But you're hyping it up like it's it's a total movement by the sports culture itself to prop it up, and you're like you're falling into it. Like, she's a great player. But there's other if that league is going to survive and continue to grow, there's other girls that out there that are playing really well
I'm
that you
not
got to hype up
denying
too.
that.
All
I'm
right
not
then. Well, okay. All right. Like we got to move. We got.
here's where the argument, I think, falls down. See, you're caught up in credit. You're caught up in credit. Like, I'm discrediting other great players. Like
No,
their
I never
contribution.
said that.
Like that. It sounds like it. Like
No, I don't. What
like
I
they're
said was you never mentioned. You only mentioned one person.
like it.
Dawn
Like
Staley. Dawn Staley has contributed greatly as a coach
yes,
to
she
the
has.
profile of women's basketball. It's
Yes,
not
she
just
has.
one person. Sam.
I
It's a
understand
complete.
Hey,
that.
It's a complete movement.
Daniel. See, here's where you're conflating the argument. When we talk about popularity
Mhm.
and contribution, these are two different things. Why something is popular and whether someone is contributing when it comes to what they are doing, these are two different
No,
things.
they're both contributing to the popularity.
That's not true.
Dawn Staley has
That is not
contributed to the
true.
popularity of women basketball for 30
Don Staley has been a
years.
ball player, has been a contributor for decades,
For 30
and the
years,
game hasn't
to the
been popular.
popularity of she's contributed to her what she's done in South Carolina has absolutely contributed to the
Not
popularity
to
of
the
women's
degree,
basketball.
not to the degree that it, and I love Dawn, but not to
Okay.
the degree that Caitlin Clark's presence has contributed to the popularity of the game.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about her contributions on the merit of her talent as a player and a coach. Her contribution on the merit of her talent as a player and a coach is immense, but it is not commensurate with her talent. See, Caitlin Clark's
Wait, what?
her
Say that. Repeat that.
contribution as a player, it far outweighs her contribution based on her talent is not on par with the popularity. Yeah, I mean her popularity far outweighs the contribution
Okay.
based on her
All
talent.
right. All right.
Far
Okay.
outweighs
I
that.
see what you're saying. That makes sense.
Far
I'm like,
outweighs that.
okay. All right. All right.
I'm not saying
I
that
was
the
thinking
two are
shit. Well, nothing at no level. Go ahead.
they are not comparable.
Mhm.
Her popularity outpaces her talent. I'm not arguing that. Part of her popularity, make no mistake, it is
It's
in
because she was the
part.
one girl playing for Iowa that was nice playing against a
There is
team
no
full of South
question.
Carolina. Like we go keep it real. Let's keep it real. But we not gonna go ahead.
No,
Go
yes
ahead.
we are. Yes we no,
she was getting busy
absolutely.
though.
She was definitely getting
She
busy.
does.
She was
No,
getting
no,
busy.
listen,
She was
That's the
definitely getting
popularity.
busy.
It's like
She was
everybody
getting.
looking at it
That's what I'm
like,
saying.
oh my
She was
gosh,
like
how is she doing
one
this?
elite player going against a team full of elite
no,
players,
no,
and she
no.
killed,
No,
even though they lost. But
it is inherently part of this is based on race. There's no question. There's no denying that.
okay,
Who's denying that?
I
no,
mean,
I wasn't.
Having a white superstar is a huge factor.
mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And so you lean into that if you're the WNBA. It's why It's why, for instance, in baseball, it's why they're like, hey man, we got to have some American-born black players, because if we don't, we got some issues, right? It's part of the reason that the WNBA has exploded in popularity, just like the NBA exploded in popularity when Larry Bird came around in the early 80s, right? So you lean into that, you capitalize on it, and other players who are immensely talented, who have contributed for years, can benefit from it, because now people can see, wait, they got other really, really talented players in this league too. Some even more talented than Caitlin Clark. You
But
lean
what if?
into that.
All right, I get your point completely. I'm just saying I disagree a little bit because there's women in the WNBA who had Nike shoe deals and had commercials before this young lady came onto the scene. So I agree, it's increased, right? So you have a point. I'm gonna just stop there. I agree with you. Let's just end it there. Let's move on.
Yeah. So now you get to the point though where the depictions of Angel Reese in this dynamic do become somewhat problematic
Mhm.
in this back and forth,
Mm.
right? And so uh, as this this inherently racial conversation, and when you talk about the rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese kind of takes hold, some of the stereotypical descriptions of Caitlin Clark, or excuse me, of Angel Reese, start to propagate, and they start to, I think, become really, really nefarious, and I think, especially when they are inflamed in certain media circles. I think you're going to see that on social media. You expect it on Twitter and on Facebook, but when you get media types kind of throwing gasoline on it, I think that's when the issue, I think, really arises. I think media members have a responsibility to kind of put some guardrails on it when they can. And I don't think all media members are taking that responsibility as seriously as they should, in my opinion, fellas. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and what you're alluding to is, the comments from RG3, and for me, I think the wording and the way it, came off. It was super, almost irresponsible in my opinion. That's my favorite word. It's very irresponsible, actually. Because Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, very different people, right? The way that they go about this whole situation from the very beginning, right? From the very beginning, which was the ring pointing, right? That's where it all started. It's the ring pointing, right? They both handle it differently. And not to say one way is right and one way is wrong. Now, some people have a preference of a way that is being handled, right, by each person, but it you can't say who's right and who's wrong. But when you come out and say that Angel Reese, who, in my opinion, has everything she said with her mouth, right, is I don't have a real problem with her. I don't have a problem with Caitlin Clark, right? It's competitive fire, it's all these things, which is okay. And this is where you get into how come women can't have that competitive fire, but guys can, right? I can hate
exactly.
you on the court, or I can really want to destroy you on the court. I can Anthony Edwards want to kill my idol, but I also can still respect him, right? And so we don't ever think, oh, Anthony Edwards hates Kevin Durant. Oh, Anthony Edwards hates LeBron. No, we don't say that, but we know that he's a monster. He's going to kill him when he's on court as if he hates him, right? So when you start to say, yeah, she genuinely hates this woman, now the angry black woman is coming out, where now Caitlin Clark, who, in my opinion, has done a nice job of handling and not pouring gasoline on the fire of making Angel Reese try to look worse than, some people are trying to make her look, right? You make it seem like, oh, it's just this young white girl who's just playing basketball and doing her thing, when she's the one that fouled her. Let's be clear. She's the one that fouled her, right? But she's just doing her thing, and this black girl is just so angry and hates her, right? If you get finger fouled, Daniel, if you get flagrant fouled, Sam, if I get flagrant fouled, I'm running at you too, right? Does that mean I hate you? I hate that you just fouled me like that, right? So I just don't understand why he would say with so much confidence and so much, you know, belief. Oh yeah, she hates her. Knowing what the internet is going to do, knowing what everybody's going to do, take that because you're a voice in media. They're going to take that, run with it, and create this whole narrative where they're already trying to create it, right? But now it's like, oh, he knows something. He's a black man talking about a young black girl, and he's in the media. He has to know something that we don't know. So let's run with that. And now it makes it harder for Angel Reese, which is very unfair, right? Very unfair. And so I think that was like I said, irresponsible, but
Yeah,
I don't think she hates her. I don't think, and she might hate her,
Hey,
but she didn't
hey,
say that.
hey. To be honest, I hope they don't like each other. It's gonna make the
Exactly.
competition better.
yeah, that's what I'm
I
like.
hope they don't like each other. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, I don't.
Exactly.
You don't have to like. I don't have to go out with you to the club or be your friend or whatever. Like after the
100%.
games, like these NBA players do. Like for us to get out here and do what we're supposed to do, which is compete hard against each other and try to bring
Mm-hmm.
home, the W or the championship, whatever it is. Like, I wish it was like there's a lot of guys that I even to like I can say to this day, but as an athlete, when I competed against, I did not like them. And I'm
But
pretty sure
Dame,
there's a lot of guys that did not like me at all, and that made the competition more fierce.
but
So hey,
nobody's
I'm
gonna
all
make a
for it.
segment. Nobody's gonna make a segment talk about how one person hates the other one. He didn't say
Right.
they hate each other, right? He made it one person, the black girl who is a little more out there, a
Exactly.
little more vibrant, hates this white girl who's just doing what she's trying to do. She's just trying to have a good time. And I just think that's wrong because they can
Yeah.
mutually not like each other, and that's good for the game. I said that already
Yes.
before we even started talking about
Yes.
this. But he made it one-sided where Caitlyn I just want to play basketball. I don't have a problem with Angel Reese. And that might be true. Who cares?
Hey,
But
are you
why do you
surprised?
have to say that? I mean, no.
Right. Like that's what like. Are you
Because
surprised
it's
we don't?
click. You get clicks for it. You get clicks. People
Yeah.
want to watch
Like
that. People love the controversy. So,
exactly.
Well,
but that's what I'm saying. I think it's just unfair because there's somebody that kind of suffers from this. And I won't
Yeah.
say necessarily suffers
And
because
who it's coming
Angel,
from, right?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. But
yeah,
Angel Reese, um, as much as she does benefit from this controversy, right? Because it makes her more
Mhm.
popular, all these different things. Because
Yeah.
some people do come to her
All
defense.
publicity is
It's
good
still
publicity.
tough, though. Exactly, but it's still tough. It's still tough to have to deal with because she's in a position right now where she has to improve her game. Right? Like
Mhm.
nobody's looking at Caitlin Clark saying, "Man, you just need to improve this. You're not good enough." Obviously, there are things she needs to improve on, but it's kind of glaring for Angel Reese that she needs to improve her game on the offensive end. And
Mhm.
now you got all these distractions because you're getting death threats now because you hate this clean cut All American young lady that plays for the Indiana Fever. You know what I mean? And I just think that makes it more difficult for her to focus on her craft and do the things she needs to do. Now she does have extracurriculars, but that's her business. I don't think anybody should create more issues for, especially if you're kind of masquerading as an ally, right? Because he's masquerading as an ally, but then you're creating this issue for clicks or whatever the reason was for. I
Mhm.
don't like it.
yeah. Hey, you can disagree, and I'm fine with that. But I think, as a black journalist, I think he has a responsibility to be more nimble, to be more understanding when it comes to the gravity of his words on a topic like
Mhm.
this.
Yeah,
That,
I think he has a responsibility to be honest, which I think he was being honest. He was just wrong. And
well,
it sounded crazy,
I think
right?
he was
So
trying. I think he was trying to get
it's up
some
for
clicks
us.
too. Now,
Yeah, for sure,
well,
for sure. He was crazy in what he said, but it's up to us to understand that
well.
and
Listen.
take him for what he said. A lot of crazy stuff, right? That's why I
So,
said earlier, DG, you got to consider the source.
yeah,
so,
He
he
used
did
the
so
say a lot
kid's
of crazy stuff.
name like
a couple of things.
vulgarly for a
Okay,
Michigan
So
broadcast,
first
bro.
of
Like
all,
it's crazy.
I'm gonna start with where I started with before. I thought it was fantastic that
Yeah,
Caitlin Clark came in with the forearm shiver. I thought it was
like I said, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic for the rivalry. I thought it was fantastic for the game. I
Mm-hmm.
think this notion that women can't play exactly like if we watch this Pacers this Pacers series coming up, and we see it, and Carl Anthony Towns, he he gets forearm shivered in the game tonight, right? And ain't
Ah,
nobody gonna,
he
yeah,
gonna be
ain't
like,
nobody gonna.
ah.
Now you gotta
All
use your
right, I
man
quit. I quit.
If
Halliburton.
I quit.
Miles Turner goes and forearm shivers Carl Anthony Towns, ain't nobody gonna say, oh, he hates him. Oh,
Yeah.
he hates. Ain't nobody gonna say that.
Carl Anthony
They
Towns
gonna be
gonna
like,
say, "Oh my God,
it's not gonna
call
be
the
like that.
foul."
You know, women should be given the same latitude to compete hard, compete, with physicality that the guys get.
No, wait,
But
time out. Time out. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Carl Anthony Towns ain't gonna say that now. He is solidly New Yorker now. He gonna say, us
nah,
from New York, we don't play that. You know what I mean? From New
nah,
York,
man.
hey,
Hey,
all my boy from the Bronx, we don't play that.
nah, man. Udonis Haslam called him. Arbor called him a ballerina on ESPN the other day, man.
Hey, from New York, we don't play that. I had to get throughout the game. New
So
Yorkers, we don't play that.
I thought it was great to see her do that because I don't want to see Kumbaya on the court,
Yeah,
right?
me either.
But you saw RG3 come in and he tried to make it something different,
Yeah.
and the connotations of it, understanding that you already have a racially inflamed conversation around this rivalry anyway, and you're sprinkling gasoline on that.
Let me ask
You're
you a
you're
question, Sam. Did he make it racial? Because he just said he didn't like. He said she didn't like her. Did he mention race when he said it?
No,
Because he
he
just
did
said he
not.
didn't like her.
I didn't say he made it racial.
Okay,
I said
about to
he's
say the other
sprinkling.
guy. Yeah, the other guy made it racial.
I'm saying
But
if
some
you
things you
understand,
don't have to say. He doesn't have to
right,
say racial things when he makes it one-sided, but he's doing it based off
Yeah.
of Caitlin Clark fouling her flagrantly. So
Yeah.
who hates who?
right,
Like, you know what I mean? So
and
why
that's
did you
why I'm
pick
saying
Angel Reese? Because he
you
knew
gotta
people would
understand.
click it.
You understand the scenario. You understand the situation. That's why I say
Mm-hmm.
understand the gravity of your words because of the
Mhm.
situation,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And so this is where Ryan Clark comes in, right? So a lot of people taking shots at Ryan Clark and what Ryan Clark had to say and criticizing RG3 for not understanding the gravity of his words around this situation. And he said, "Hey, man, clearly you aren't having conversations in your home because you have a white wife. So you must not be having these conversations in your home." And so RG3 felt attacked. You attacking me and you're attacking my family and you're attacking my wife, and that's off limits. And that you should not be talking about me and my wife, right? And so I I think if you feel attacked, I didn't hear Ryan Clark attacking his wife. He did attack RG3.
Mm.
I didn't hear him attacking
No, he
his wife.
attacked the fact that his wife is white. So like he didn't
Mm.
attack her personally, but he tried to make a point in a roundabout way that oh yeah, like you said, he don't understand or he not having these kind of whatever because he has his wife is white, which I think is unfair as well. I
So
think RG3 was wrong, but I think Ryan Clark was being unfair as
no.
well.
So
Yeah.
I here's what I think was the point. See, I think he was projecting, and right or wrong, he was projecting, and I think this is what he was projecting. I think he was projecting his personal situation, as if to say, "Man, if I had done that, my wife would have checked my ass."
Mm,
Because I know if I had said some things that my wife had thought was questionable, my wife would have checked me. Now we might have been checking each other, but she would have spoke up and checked me. And he
mm.
said
Yeah, because every
clearly,
time you say something crazy about me, she let you know. And you don't have nothing to say, but go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
But
and,
that's also Ryan Clark assuming that
and clearly, so
RG3's black mother and black sister aren't prevalent in his life and giving him advice about stuff
clearly they
like
aren't
that
checking
either.
him. I think he made some assumptions that clearly they aren't checking him, and maybe those assumptions are wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe they are checking him, and RG3 is just ignoring them. And so Ryan Clark could be clear; he could be totally off base in making totally wrong assumptions, right? But
Mm,
he's projecting and saying, "Man, you're at home making these comments, and making these statements that make that are insensitive to Angel Reese because you don't have someone in your life that is giving you the perspective of a black woman. You clearly are not getting that on the home front, because if you were, you wouldn't be so insensitive as to go on a platform as big as yours and to inflame her situation.
And I say
Right.
that as two men disagreeing about something that happened on the basketball court, I think that's a bit far. Like we're both watching something, we disagree about what we saw. You disagree with my opinion about what I saw, and you think that, and now you're giving you like that's what happened when everybody, like even us, like we get tired. I may be talking crazy sometimes as well, but anytime you have a platform,
Sometimes,
most of the people have these
sometimes.
people, these people have podcasts. They get there and they, you get there, you start trying to make a.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's for content or you really think that you're a
You
psychologist,
you want
but
you
when you
want to
start trying,
be you want to have that
yeah,
that that I don't know what the word to say is, but you want to be so
yeah.
impactful that everything goes
Yeah,
viral. I do blame RG3. I do blame Ryan Clark, but I kind of don't blame them. I blame the internet and the age we live in now. Everything
yeah,
is about, can I say the most profound thing to get people
yeah,
to click it? And so for RG3, right, whether it's strategic or not, right, it's kind of like subconsciously, it's like, man, people are gonna love this, and it's how I feel a little bit. So I might as
yep,
well put it out there. Let's do it. And then for Ryan Clark, I've like through his platform, he is big time psychologist, right? So he's
yes,
always looking for an opportunity to dive in and kind of massage and figure out, well, this is what was said, but this is what was thought, and so it all is because of that's their brand, right?
yeah.
Individually,
Right.
that's Ryan Clark's
Well,
brand, and that's RG3's brand,
Hey,
and
Ryan
it's
Clark
the
is
internet's
typical
fault.
New Orleans dude.
well,
Hey,
and
he a
listen,
typical
listen.
New Orleans cat. He always trying to
And,
philosophize.
and look, I won't deny. Clearly, look, it's some personal stuff for Ryan Clark and RG3, right? He
Yeah, I don't
and
think they
and
like
he,
each other. After the
yeah,
Jigaboo
At
thing,
all.
when RG3 said Jigaboo on air and Ryan Clark was at the table, first look at his face, and then he talked about it. That I think that was the last straw for their relationship. Like,
Yeah,
you do too much, you play too much,
right,
you setting the culture back, essentially, is what I think he thinks
right.
of them.
And then you
mhm,
can see in some of the exchanges, and he talked about how Ryan RG3 is always talking about, yeah, I got this tall glass of milk with
yeah,
Yeah,
me
that's
and
weird.
all of
That's
that,
weird.
and
That's weird.
RG3 is always referring to his wife. Like, you can see him tweeting about it. He always is referring to his
Yeah,
wife as a tall glass of milk and all of that. Like, he clearly does not like those references, and he kind of is using this in part
yeah,
to wax
but
poetic on that.
hey, at the
yeah,
end of the
So
day, is like once again, is RG3 wrong for what he's saying about loving his wife? Like whether it's weird, not don't get me wrong, is it weird that he's referring to her as a glass of milk or whatever it is? Yes, it's extremely weird and cringeworthy. But
yeah,
I think Ryan Clark is allowing his personal feelings about this man
yeah,
to come out a little bit too much in his commentary of what's going on, right? Like all of
yeah,
that stuff has nothing to do with like I go say, and maybe some way in the way RG3 is sympathetic to whatever because of his personal preferences. But that's not for you to like as men discussing sports, come on man, you ain't gotta do that to him. And just
yeah,
like
yeah.
as
So
no matter how wrong he is.
yeah, so
So
I
this
think
could be something too, Sam and Daniel. So RG3, like, he's open, like, this is not like news. He openly does like the "I'm so black" thing, like almost in an effort to prove how black he is and stuff like that, right? Like, he
Hmm.
does the stuff on air and all those different things, right?
Yep.
And I think a lot of people take offense to, okay, you're talking about how black you are, but then on the other hand, you're doing the tall white milk. I love white milk, stuff like that. Yeah. It's kind of contradictory, and I don't think
Hmm.
people agree with it, right? And like for me, you and Sam, we don't care to really talk about it like that. But for some people,
Yeah.
like you said, New Orleans guys are a little different, right? And Ryan Clark, like, I'm sick of you doing this. I'm sick of it, and I'm gonna speak on it. And this was a perfect opportunity to go in length talk about all the things, because
Yeah.
like you said, it's probably been boiling up from all the things that he kind of did when they was working together on I think it was Monday Night Football or whatever at ESPN.
Mm.
And so it's almost like, okay, finally I gotta say something and I gotta put it out there, and he used it as an opportunity. Now, like we said at the beginning, was he right, was he wrong? That's up for other people to debate. I don't really care enough, but I do think that there's some built up kind of animosity towards RG3 for his antics and the things he does that people think are weird, which, we all think some of the stuff is weird too. And I
Yeah.
think that he used it as an opportunity because of
Yeah.
his platform and what he does to kind of go after him.
Yeah, listen. Do I think it's wrong to have your personal beef play out in your commentary if you're Ryan Clark? Yes.
Mhm.
Do I think that he's wrong to point out that his perspective may be limited when he is referring to Angel Reese and casting her as the villain in this dynamic? I don't think that that's off base. It may, his perspective may be marred by his personal beef, and because his perspective is marred, maybe he's not the one to deliver this message.
Yeah.
Maybe he can't. Maybe he can't be the one to call RG3 out because
See, it
he
should have
has.
been me, man. It should have been me. I got to start a
But that's what,
podcast, man.
but that's what I'm saying. You don't know RG3 sister. RG3 sister may be the exact opposite of him. You know, he
Yeah,
from small town, Texas. You never know. So you
yeah.
just
Guys,
you can't make those assumptions, bro. You just
you
can't
know
I
make
who
just
those
I'm
know.
mad
assumptions.
at in all of this? You know who I'm mad at in all of this? Y'all don't know who I'm about to say. You know who I'm mad at? I'm mad at Uncle Shay Shay because of his deal, he can't even speak on it. Really, he can't even
Yeah.
give us something to be funny laughing about. I'm mad at him. This is the perfect time for him to
Man,
step in and do his thing.
have you seen the show lately? I've been watching Nightcap,
No,
man. He's
man,
kind of
I
been
don't
he
even
been a
pop up on my
little
algorithm no more. It don't
he
pop up
been a
no
little
more.
tame, man. I need Scott.
That's what I'm saying. Because of his issues, he can't even jump on this wow like he's supposed to, like he usually do. I'm mad at him, I'm mad at Uncle Shay.
No, I think Ryan's perspective on this
Mhm.
is right on, with the exception of, hey man, you just got personal beef with RG3, and you just let your personal beef come out. But I think his point is right. Like, hey man, you listen, there are stereotypes that are being inflamed here, and you got a platform, and you shouldn't be helping inflame those stereotypes with the platform that you have.
Mhm.
Like,
I
you got
agree
a
with that.
responsibility, man. You
I
know,
agree with that.
take that
Could he
more
have
serious.
said it like that? Could he have said it like that and left his wife out of it? Probably.
He
That's
could have.
that's what that's my entire point, DG. See how Sam
But
see maybe they need to ask Sam next time to articulate for him.
but Daniel, that's not his platform. Remember, I said it's the long form
Yeah.
philosophy. Why? Okay, how and why? Like it's got to be deeper, right? Deep rooted stuff, and so
Yeah.
that's his brand. You know what I mean? So hey, good
Well, nah,
thing we all good. You know what I
hey
mean?
man,
That's
nah,
great. You know what I mean?
he wanted to get
Yeah,
Hey,
get a
he
there's
shout
wanted
out.
only
to get
one
Yeah,
that
get a
in.
shout out.
there's
He
only one
yeah,
solution for
He
this,
been
man.
wanting to get it in, but there was no real ability to just come out and say,
Nah.
"Well, you got a white wife." It was
Yeah.
no real place for him to say that. But this kind of it maybe didn't open the door
yeah,
wide open, but it cracked it. It cracked it a little bit. He put that
yeah.
he
And he
put that
kicked
foot
it
in the
open.
door.
Yeah. Boom. Hey,
Hey,
that's
who
what
Yeah,
in
it
he
here?
is.
put
What?
that in. Hey, but my man played that big. Oh, you attacked me, and
Oh
you
yeah, that was the
attacked
most.
my wife,
That was
and you
wild. That was
Yeah.
attacked
wild.
my family.
Nah, he
Bro,
didn't
he
attack your
attacked you.
family.
He did attack you. He did not attack your wife.
He didn't attack your family. He attacked
He
you,
did not
bro.
attack your family. He did attack you. Now the question is, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah. Hey, there's
That's
only
what I
one
want
solution, DG. Battle Royale.
I
Get
just
him
say
in the
put the
ring.
gloves on.
Yeah, get
Put
him in
the
the ring.
gloves on. If y'all got a real problem, you mad because he attacked your wife, you got to defend her. You mad because he attacked the black community, you got to defend it. Hey, I'll ref it. I'll ref it.
Listen, Daniel has to pop out. While Daniel pops out, I told you about the economic study that the Ann Arbor Sports Commission
You talking about mine or
did.
the
Pardon me?
my study on your 86 million
No,
or what?
no, no, no.
Oh,
It
okay.
was
Sorry. My bad.
listen,
Insider trading.
it was the economic study that the Ann Arbor Sports Commission they did into the economic impact. As he popped out too quick. See, now I gotta go ahead and change the view of the Right. I got to change the view real quick. The economic impact of Michigan football on the Washington County area. And so, listen, we know that when it comes to the University of Michigan, this engine that is this football program, I mean, it is huge. It is immense. We know that uh, millions of dollars are generated. But did we stop to think about the hotels, the restaurants, hospitality around not just Ann Arbor, but the surrounding areas that
Mm-hmm.
are impacted by Michigan football? Well, our friends at the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, they thought about those things. They said, "Hey, well, let's go ahead and study the impact of this." And so Megan Hughes, the director of the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, they went about a process of of digging into the numbers. And I guess I wasn't aware, DG. I thought we would be in the tens of millions. Try hundreds of millions, man. Hundreds of millions of dollars when you talk about the economic impact of Michigan football. And I think they said to the tune of $235 million. And so you got to have Michigan football be successful, not just go on, but be successful. That's why you got to have, recruiting be successful. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you know, great coaches
A
be
lot, a
around.
lot of people's jobs and families depend on Michigan football being successful, and these are people who don't have to be directly tied to the football program. Is what's so impressive, right? So I remember having conversations with Perry, right, Pericos, who owns the Brown Jug and a number of different businesses in Ann Arbor, and his numbers are much better, right, at his respective businesses when Michigan football is great. Ann Arbor's a great town, and he makes money, and even Harry Cohen at the Black Pearl, they make money and it's all good. But when Michigan football is doing well, when Michigan football is at the height, their income or the money they garner for their business, which allows them to pay their employees well and all those different things, it's on an all time different level. So I just it's really cool. It's really cool that Michigan football is so important to the community of Washtenaw. And I'm glad they did the study, because if they wouldn't have done that study, I wouldn't have been able to just do a spinoff study of my own to make sure I let everybody know
Just
how
do it,
much money is in that left pocket of Samuel Jackson Webb III.
man. It's not even like that.
Oh, it's like
I,
that.
it's not even like that,
Oh,
folks.
it's like that.
I don't
Oh, you
have
got
bread
it.
like that.
Oh, you got it.
I don't have bread like that. As preparing this interview that we did with the folks at the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, where they talked about this study that they were able to bring about here in the great city of Ann Arbor. And in the meantime, in between time, as we bring it to you, here's what we'll do in the meantime. Here's what we'll do. We will finish up the chat about Michigan football with Golden Limo. We'll do that first. The chat about Michigan football with Sean Duvall from Golden Limo, because we had him on last week. So we'll do that first, and then after we finish up that chat with Sean Duvall from Golden Limo, where he talked about the his NIL ambassador. He is introducing Zeke Berry, who's going to be the NIL ambassador for Golden Limo this year. Then we will talk about the economic impact of Michigan football on the Washington County area. So here is Sean Duvall introducing his NIL ambassador, Zeke Berry.
Started this a few years ago, and we just re-signed with the University of Michigan, and we couldn't be thrilled, and I think they're really happy with the service as well. Position that's so important to us, safety, I know they're going to move him around now, but we're still in the Michigan defensive backfield. And I think Zeke is a perfect representation for Golden. We couldn't be happier. I can't wait to. We're going to do some more things and than what we did with Will. We're going to get him up on billboards around the Metro Detroit area and bring some more attention to Michigan athletics and bring attention to Golden and hopefully have some signings with him. I'm not sure, but I hope we do something with Samaj and Zeke again with the same way Will and Samaj did the toy drive. I hope we do something like that around Christmas again. But we have a whole slate of fun and exciting things to do with Zeke in the coming year. And I don't even think we're done that there. I mean, Zeke has made it just such a great experience that we know that we want to just go deeper with NIL and look for other opportunities to showcase our athletes and get them in a position not just to be successful as athletes, successful in our community with all the nonprofits that we're a part of, and also to keep them here because I know that NIL is a huge part of keeping athletes at our institution.
All right. And so let's get DG back on the stage. And we will now get all of the deals off. And DG, glad to have our friends at Golden Limo back supporting the NIL endeavors of the Michigan student athletes. And we will get started with talking about our friends coming up here as we get the background reset for the last time here. All right. These dudes. All right. They don't want to get the background done. All right, DG. So the NCAA is going away. I don't know if you heard, but the NCAA is about to be no more. The NCAA, by virtue of the settlement agreement that it will soon be, codified. It will soon be approved by the judge. When she says it's a go, the NCAA will be relieved of all enforcement powers. They're going to relinquish all enforcement powers, and they are going to be turned over to a yet to be named CEO. The NCAA will then only be enforcing rules as they apply to academic violations. No longer will they be in charge of enforcing rules violations when it comes to recruiting violations or anything that we are accustomed to them being involved with. So now we are going to see them go away when it comes to the things that we are accustomed to them being involved with. I think this is a happy day in the day and age of what we have long endured. We can now see them go back to seeing them be in what we want to see them do, and that's stay out of being in messing with rules that we thought were archaic and antiquated, and just be involved with policing the tournament. Just put on the tournament and get out of messing with recruiting and stuff like that. Now the question is, who will be the CEO in the grand scheme of things. But I'm glad to see the NCAA finally going away.
I am too. And just as a little side note, Coach Loxley from Maryland is walking across the pool as cool as he want to be down here. But he's walking as cool as he want to walk with his shorts on, looking cool in the mug, with his Hawaii-like shirt on. But anyway, I digress. I agree with you. I think Coach Loxley and all the coaches here at Big Ten spring meetings, I'm sure they're very excited for it to be done. Coach Jerome Moore, who I saw taking a walk this morning all around the resort. I'm sure he's excited about it. It's only right. It's only right. The NCAA, like you said, has been archaic for a very long time. I say it's about 12 years too late, right? Because I remember being in college and having to deal with the NCAA and sitting in a cold room and being offered a cigarette like I did something wrong when I did nothing wrong, you know. The whole NCAA violations. I remember, what was it, AJ Green that sold his own jerseys and was suspended, right? All these goofy things where I can see the recruiting things and whatever. I would rather stay out of that. But like even like the Ohio State selling your memorabilia for tattoo. What does that have to do with you? That is not cheating to be better at football, right? That has nothing to do with the game on the field, right? You're just trying to punish people and keep control and have control of situations that have nothing to do with you. So I'm just very excited. I wish there could be restitution for all the people that had to deal with these goofy, life-altering suspensions and different things like that. Now, that's not going to happen, but it's about time, and I think that everybody involved, coaches, players alike, will all benefit greatly from it.
Yeah, man. I think that the day and age of the NCAA being judge, jury, and executioner,
Mm-hmm.
you know, especially when you know you, you could always question um, the motives of an organization that was um, never, I think, never really about the based on the fairness when it came to the treatment of the student athlete. I just I can never respect the doling out of punishment when the basis of the organization was never on
Right.
the foundation of
They're
fairness.
punishing people for morality and things like that.
Correct.
And they are based in immoral principles to
Correct.
begin with. Makes no
Correct.
sense. Makes no
Correct.
sense.
So I to me, when you start out that way, when the premise is flawed, that you're going to be punishing people, is a baseless concept to begin with. So now that is going away, the question then becomes, who are you going to charge with that responsibility? They're
I think
talking
there's a
about
lot
having
of. Go
they're
ahead.
talking about having a commission that has a CEO who has that duty, a seven-figure CEO who has that duty, who answers to a board, and that board consists of the commissioners of the Power Four conferences.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how comfortable I am with that. So one person who
No,
actually
no, no, Sam. You got to be comfortable with it because I'm putting in my resume. I'm telling you, I should be the commissioner. I should be the CEO. I should be the one because I can deal in a group. I can work with a team, right? I can see the people, the board. I can be buddy buddy. And I watched Roger Goodell at the last Fox seminar. He came, he spoke. I could be that. I could do that. But give me a private jet. I'll be where I need to be. I'm just telling you. I think I'm a great choice. If not me, then who?
So listen, okay, if it was Devin Gardner, I would be okay, but I'm not convinced because they said it was going to be someone not within intercollegiate athletics. There's going to be someone from outside of intercollegiate athletics who answers to the board, which consists of the conference commissioners. So again,
Jim Hackett.
you're gonna get someone outside of intercollegiate athletics. I think you need someone who is versed in the dynamics of these sports and the challenges that they have to deal with. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very unique time when they're dealing with the very, very challenging circumstances where you're talking about athletes finally getting paid,
Mm-hmm.
NIL coming in, and these, still figuring out what NIL is, right? So you're figuring that out as you go.
You know
And
what I hope? You know what I hope from the CEO, that he makes it NIL and not pay for play, right? Because the whole gripe all these years was, why can't I sell my jerseys? Why can't I sign autographs for money? Why can't I do these things? Right now, whoever has the biggest pocketbook is getting the kid, and it's ruining the development of these young players. It's ruining it, right? Nico Yamaliava at Tennessee, he can't develop because of all the people around him in his ear, his agent, all these different things, trying to get more money for something he hasn't earned, essentially, right? I just think that if it's going to be NIL, it should be NIL. You get what you earn, right? If you go do a commercial, yeah, you get paid for it. Just like the real world. It should be like the real world. In the NFL, you don't get paid for nothing, right? You don't get paid for nothing. You have to contribute in some way and do something. And I don't think you're able to do that in this kind of form of the NIL. Now, am I upset that people are getting paid enormous amounts of money? Absolutely not, right? I want people to get paid, but I just think that for the long run, for kids who, because we see NBA, NFL players who have made over 100 million and different things like that go broke, right? And so what's to say this college kid is not going to go broke because they're not getting that much money, right? So it's all going to go away. And if you go to college and your goal is to become an NFL player and develop as a player and all these different things, and it's kind of halted and you're kind of handcuffed because you can't develop because of the pressures of making so much money or whatever the case may be, that's a problem, right? And that's a problem that I think needs to be fixed. And I hope the new CEO or whoever would kind of at least look at that and say, hey, you can make as much money as you want as long as you are actually using your name, image, and likeness to make that money. And it's not just, hey, that team was paying you 1.5, so I'm going to give you 2.5, but there's no real obligation. Like, we just need you on our team. That I don't think that's fair.
yeah, it's going to be tough for them to enforce it. You said you hope that they make it true NIL. They might try. I think they're going to get sued into it. But anytime you try to place controls or limitations or govern people without them having a say in that governance, they're going to sue you. They're going to sue you. I mean, you can talk about it from the standpoint of history. I mentioned this morning. I mean, think about it from standpoint of American history. No taxation without representation, right? There's gonna be an uprising. The same thing is gonna happen here. They're going to sue if you try to limit their ability to earn until they have a say in how it's governed. So once they can collectively bargain, how their money is policed or how their earning potential is governed, they're not going to just allow you to say, hey, you know what, you can put parameters on how this money or how
Yeah,
my earning
I
potential
love
is.
that you're worried about my future. Please put parameters on how much
Yeah,
money I can make.
come on, that just will not
Oh, you
stand. You
care
can
about my
try,
development? Oh, please take
you
some
can
of my money away.
you can try, but in the interim, they can try to put these rules on it. But I was saying, I guess I'm just not super comfortable with one person being the unilateral judge, and when there's a question, him answering to conference commissioners that I don't have total faith in. I don't have confidence in Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti. He's the same dude who tried to strong arm Michigan during the sign gate thing, talking about player safety was in question. Like, man, this dude don't know jack. He don't know jack about football. Trying to come in telling Michigan they were putting players in danger because signs were being stolen. Like this.
Yeah, that was crazy. Sam, I
Exactly.
just
So
I just texted you over something, and we kind of finished this topic, but I don't know. I don't know if this is completely true. I don't want to say it on our platform without knowing, but this is a huge development.
you just texted it to me.
Yep, I just sent it over in a text message. Bear with us, people. This is a huge development from our previous
So I
conversation.
don't know. I don't know if that's true. I saw that, I
Woo.
saw that.
We ain't gonna put it out there unless we get some facts. But
I
my
don't know
goodness,
if that's true.
that would be crazy.
He has a really, really light-skinned daughter. I don't know if it's true that she's mixed. I don't know if that's true. So
If that's a tough development. That's a tough development. If you know, oh no,
so he needs to make sure that that's true before he.
yeah,
Yeah. So I
man.
don't know if that's true. So he's talking about there's a Marcellus Wiley apparently is saying that Ryan Clark has a daughter of mixed race. Well, I don't know that that's true. So that is being spread across social media. I'm sure
Which
people are
it could
seeing
be
that.
fake because people put fake stuff up and make it
People
look
put fake
real
stuff
with
up.
links
He
and
has
all
a
that.
really, really
Full
light skinned
blown
daughter.
articles. Full blown
Yeah, he has
articles
a
with fake
really light
stuff.
skinned daughter, but he also has a really light skinned wife. So
Yeah. You want to
I
know
mean,
what's something that, and this is back when I was playing. Remember when we played Ohio State and JT got hurt and I went out, prayed for him, all that and whatever. Somebody made a full blown article, a fake article of me, and it said that I had went up to him and told him, there goes your Heisman chances." That's what it was said. And I said a full article, explaining and all these different things. First of all, obviously whoever wrote that article don't know me because that is the weakest thing. So like that's not even cool. That's not sweet. Like, hey, there goes your Heisman chances, bro. Like I would never say nothing like that. Obviously, you know that. But it was so real and it got so much traction. Trey Burke's mom, because me and Trey Burke was cool at the time. She texted me and said, "I hope this is not true, and I really can't believe that you would say something like this."
wow.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
So I know all about the fake articles, and
Wow.
they get me sometimes. That's why I don't tweet a whole bunch because you don't know what's real on the internet, and that's going back 15 years, 10 years, right? That's not even right now where literally it has changed into a whole new deal where you can make as many fake things you want and it looks completely real. Yeah, that's a real
Hey
thing that
man.
happened to me.
Hey, yeah,
There goes your Heisman chances,
no,
JT.
the Ohio State people, they wrote an article on me saying that Jim hired me. What they say? They say that
Little
Jim
do
had
they know,
hired me.
you only got to keep going. I'll tell them right now. Jim ruined our whole. Remember how we used to do our film breakdowns? He ruined that for us. So Jim didn't hire Sam to do nothing. Ohio State. Let's be clear. We don't do the breakdowns as much because somebody put a little veto in that, and it we can say it now because he coached for the Chargers now. So yeah.
Said that
I can
Jim
tell you one
hired
thing.
me.
One person that didn't hire Sam is Jim Harbaugh. Take it down. Take them all down. Well, can we do it and not get paid? No.
Well, hey, I think I don't know if he dropped the dime to the Big Ten Network. Now he did help restore it. So I will say that.
But I hope so. He the one that took it. What?
Yeah. But they said that he hired me and that something that my wife that something with that I was working for, my wife was working for Jim or I was working for Jim and
Basically,
all
your
this.
takes are flawed because you work for him and your wife wouldn't have a job if you didn't work for him. Or
Yeah. Which what? I called Jim was like, what? He laughed about that. He don't he don't even have a sense of humor.
He
Like
don't laugh. Yeah, he don't have a sense of humor for
he
real.
don't even laugh. He's like,
what? What are you talking about? I don't give you any money. What?
What is this? It's like, wow, Sam.
Wow, didn't know I was paying you.
Buckeyes really don't like you, huh?
Didn't know I was paying you, Sam.
Didn't know I was paying your salary, Sam. Like, wow, your wife really makes that much money? Like they made up a whole article down there. Wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, they make up a lot of stuff.
So the internet is fake for the most part. Only thing real on the internet is Droppin Dimes, man.
Yeah, that is right.
Only thing
All
real.
right, folks. Well, so Michigan football, the economic impact is immense. It is immense. And so immense that our friends at the Ann Arbor Sports Commission did a study to break down the impact, the economic impact of Michigan football on the Washtenaw County area by studying how much money comes in from outside of Washtenaw County. Our friend Megan Hughes, the director of the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, she came on with one of her colleagues from the Sports Commission. So we'll bring that to you now, so you can see it's not just the coaches and the players and the impact on the University of Michigan. It's the impact on the southeastern Michigan area, on the state as a whole. Here are our friends from the Ann Arbor Sports Commission to break it all down for you right now. And folks, these episodes of Steady Droppin Dimes would not be possible without our great sponsors and our presenting sponsor, our friends over at the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, doing such an amazing job of helping bring such great events to this community, facilitating those events, helping people who come to those events, whether it's finding accommodations, places to eat, obviously places to stay, helping put on events. Our friends at the Ann Arbor Sports Commission are your resources for all of those things, places to go. Our resources here in Washtenaw County, they are unbelievable at their jobs. And of course, you should know by now, I call her our co-host extraordinaire, Megan Hughes, the director of the Ann Arbor Sports Commission. Megan, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Sam. It's nice to be on your show again. Thanks for having us. We've had a busy, productive spring at the Sports Commission and are gearing up for a very busy summer, and excited to talk with you and your guests today.
Yeah, and a range of tasks you perform, from putting on events to researching the impact of those events on this community, thus the need for a director of research, like another of our guests from the Sports Commission, the director of research, Tim Crowson. So Tim, how are you today?
Good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here to talk about our latest study we just put out.
Yeah, and so it goes hand in hand with what we talk about a lot here on the show. As you know, one of our co-hosts here, Devin Gardner, he was a star quarterback at the University of Michigan. You see my background, the big house. It is an economic engine, not just for the University of Michigan, but an economic engine for Ann Arbor, for Washtenaw County, for Southeast Michigan. And recently, Tim, you guys at the Ann Arbor Sports Commission commissioned a study to research the economic impact of Michigan football. And we are all curious, what did you find?
Yeah, so we commissioned with a tourism research firm named Future Partners. They specialize in research of doing economic impact of events all over the country, all over the world. So we brought them in to help us learn more about the economic impact of Michigan football. And so we had them in the games. We were at 3 different games surveying. We were throughout downtown Ann Arbor the Friday night before, talking to people who were going to the games. If they were just in the area, they were going to go watch the game at a local restaurant or doing that. And then some of your listeners might have seen us in the stadium if they were at either the Fresno State game or the Texas game or the Minnesota game. They probably saw us in there. We had surveyors on iPads and clipboards that were walking around, talking to spectators and asking about their trip to the area. What were they spending while they were here? Where are they staying? All sorts of information. And what we ended up with is that we learned that from Michigan football games in 2024, direct visitor spending, we had a $226.7 million was spent by visitors, people who are not from Washtenaw County, as part of their trips to Ann Arbor for a Michigan football game.
So, I guess we all knew that it had a significant impact. I think the magnitude of it maybe is a bit staggering, and that's not even people here. And those are dollars, external dollars, which is so hugely significant. I'm curious, before we get into the actual dollars and cents, the reason, what compelled you guys to do this thing? Like, what was the reason behind it?
So we know that there is an electricity that exists when you're downtown on a football weekend. Your listeners who are probably down here all the time, if you're walking around, you see tons of maize and blue. If you were here in September, you saw a lot of burnt orange when Texas was here. But we see just tons of fans, both Michigan fans and whoever is coming to play all over downtown, shopping in local business, at our bars and restaurants, just exploring the area. And so we knew that there's obviously a huge economic impact of just having games here that exists beyond just Saturday. That people are here for the weekend often if they're coming to visit for these games. And so for us, we know that it matters to quality of life for residents that are here. We get to have so many of the attractions and restaurants and retail that we do because of visitors, because visitors are spending in our community. And we know that this is a huge driver of that. So it was time to really take an intentional look at it.
Yeah.
Tim, can I also add to that as well? So we are part of a national association, the sports tourism industry, and they did an impact study on spectator sports tourism specifically. So some of their numbers nationally was an estimated 58% of all spectator sports travelers spent the night in the event destination, which generated 42.7 million room nights in 2024. And then total direct spending associated with spectator sports tourism amounted to 47.1 billion in 2024. So as the Ann Arbor Sports Commission Destination Ann Arbor continue to tell our story and use these numbers, we now have this research and data behind it to back it up to show that Ann Arbor's has the big house. We're a powerhouse in this industry and what we can do with these numbers.
So can you give us an idea, for instance, like what were participants, what were they asked? Like, how do you match that information with what you have? Can you kind of bring us inside the umbrella, if you will?
Yeah. So they, when the surveyor approached them, they were asked where were they visiting from? So there's zip codes, so we could learn, make sure they're out of county. And then we asked, where were you staying? Did you stay at a hotel? If you stayed at a hotel, was it within Washtenaw County or not? Who are you traveling with? How are you affiliated with the game? Are you a visiting team fan? Are you a Michigan fan? Are you a student? Asking all those kinds of questions. Then we asked specifically about their spending and what they expected to spend while that they were here. So what they were spending on accommodations, whether that was a hotel or if they were staying with friends and family. What were they planning to spend in restaurants, in retail, in entertainment and sightseeing? If they had to rent a car while they were here, what were they planning to spend throughout their entire stay here? And then just some typical information just around that.
Yeah, and so we know things like hotel nights are going to be huge. We know that people are going to spend a certain amount of money. But what about jobs? How many jobs stem from Michigan football? I mean, we know that coaches have to coach and, workers have to work at the game, but there are many jobs outside of working actually in the stadium that flow beyond Michigan football, right?
Yeah, so it's when we're talking about jobs within leisure and hospitality, we're talking about people who obviously are working in the stadium, being a big part of your experience when you attend a game, but also all these other places we've already talked about. Your people who are serving at restaurants, who are working at museums and in retail, and your bartenders and your brick and mortar kind of stores are all benefiting from the fact that there's this mass influx of people into the area who are here to spend money in our local businesses. And so when we did this study, the report we got back was that Michigan football, the season supported 2,198 jobs across all sorts of local businesses as part of people's spending here. So it's a huge win for our area that jobs are being supported by these games being here.
Yeah, that's huge. And it's another big reason why, I know Michigan, from their budgetary standpoint, they want a certain number. Like if they could get, 8 home games, like that is huge. Any number that you fall below that, it's like, oh, it's such a huge hit. Like a 6 home game, it's like, oh my, that's such a
That's
big
this season. 6 home games.
yeah, that's such a big hit, right? So the more home games, the better. Michigan filling in with a concert this year that fills in for the loss of one of those home games. So that is a big deal. But that's why it's not just about Michigan filling in their budget when it comes to their home schedule. It's huge for Washington County, for Southeast Michigan, the number of home games they have, right?
In our world, Sam. Oh, sorry, Tim. In our world, Sam, if there are less games than usual, we hear it from the stakeholders. They're disappointed. They love Michigan football, and it's a good point that you bring up because it is a big part of conversation with the hotels, restaurants. Are like, oh, did you see the schedule? There's only 5 games, so it's such a good point that you bring up because it's a big discussion in the hospitality world in Washtenaw County.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. But one of the other things that I stress when we talk about the sports commission is you cannot think about Ann Arbor, you cannot think about Washtenaw County as only the University of Michigan. While it is huge, $226.7 million, I think was the number that you gave. There is so much more to this community when you talk about sports and its impact. And one of the things, for instance, Megan, that we featured on this show to a large extent, really highlighted was the cheer and dance competition with the NAIA here, and that was a big hit here in this community.
Yes.
Right? What about the impact of that?
Yes, so I am so thankful for having Tim on our team because he is passionate about research and numbers, as you can see. So we host the events, we bring them in, and then he does all of his important work to get the data behind it. I'll let him be able to express the strong economic impact number, but in terms, there were 27 cheer and dance teams over the course of 3 to 4 nights here. We hosted them at Eastern Michigan University, so they were spending money in Ypsilanti, in Saline, because they were housing there, Ann Arbor as well. So it's great that after we host these events, we can work closely with Tim to get the economic impact number to prove how valuable these sporting events and tournaments and conferences are to our area to continue creating impact with the jobs in the area. So I'll let Tim kind of tell the final number that was determined from that event.
Yeah, so we I just ran it earlier this week when we finally are resetting the whole event for NAIA. So we take into account, how many people came, both spectators and participants. How many rooms do we estimate that they took up in the county from what we know, from what the work that Megan does? What are they paying for those rates? How many of them are probably staying overnight? And our estimated economic impact for NAIA's competitive cheer and dance this year was $1.4 million to Washtenaw County. And that's just, that's a weekend in March during a period where there's not always a ton of events going on. And we were lucky that weekend. We had 2 big ones happening that Megan was working on. But that's a huge win for a need period in the community.
That is outstanding. You had all those teams. You had those teams giving back to the community as well, which really features. They went out and worked with kids in the community. That was such an awesome aspect of it. And then the economic impact to add on to it at a time where you bring up, Tim, which is so important, at a time where ordinarily you wouldn't have that kind of influx of dollars in the community is such a significant bonus. So again, doing great work studying the financial impact. National Travel and Tourism Week. So how about that? Highlighting the importance and significance of that. And so what about that, Tim? And sort of what about that industry when you think about the Washtenaw County area as a tourism attraction outside of Michigan football? How significant is that industry in this area?
Yeah, so National Travel and Tourism Week, that we are celebrating that this week. This was our big splash into celebrating, was releasing our findings from the Michigan football study. At a national scale, it's a $2.9 trillion industry. generates tons of tax revenue that they estimate that if we did not have travel and tourism and all this visitor spend that comes into the community, the tax revenue that we all benefit from, that you'd be paying about $1,400, $1,500 more in federal taxes without all the visitor spend that comes in. And that's just at a national level. We did a study here back for all of 2023. We didn't do one for 2024. That looked at what the visitor economy was like here. And, we welcomed over 6 million visitors, we estimated, for 2023. We had almost $880 million in economic impact just from visitors in that year. So National Travel and Tourism Week is a celebration by the travel industry of just, what it means to everyday people, that visitors come to their communities and support what's going on there.
So $880 million in this area?
Yes, that was for 2023. That was Washtenaw County.
Yeah, so if you just use a little math here, if it's $220 million for Michigan football, you see the impact even outside.
Yeah, there's tons
for the tourism industry. So again, really, really significant, the industry, and great research. This is why you need the sports commission. This is why you need a Tim Krause to do this work.
Yes, we definitely need Tim.
Right, to do this work. So guys, where are we headed from here? I mean, the work doesn't stop. Tourism doesn't stop. Events don't stop now. There's more to come. So what's on the horizon?
We've been talking about this quite a bit with you, Sam. It's a very exciting opportunity coming up, is hosting the U.S. Rowing Row Fest this summer from July 12th through the 20th. There is a youth portion and then a master's portion. There's 4 days of setting up where a large amount of U.S. rowing staff will be in Washtenaw County on Ford Lake. It's a very exciting opportunity. There's going to be a Learn to Row event that will be open to the public. It's a great opportunity for the public to come and watch rowers on a national level. So Tim, being the amazing director of research that he is working with this group again to conduct a survey and a study on the economic impact of just this one event alone, because of how impactful it will be to our county. And I'll let Tim talk a little bit more about that. But I have to add in, if any of the listeners love rowing or just love being part of a community or sports, please go to AnnArborSports.org and reach out to volunteer, because there will be a lot of opportunities to volunteer.
Yeah, I'll just build off of that. We are going to be doing an economic impact study on U.S. Rowing's Row Fest this year. We're super excited to do it. We know that this rowing course has a lot of potential for the community. So being able to tell the story of just one big event coming is a really great way for us to continue to talk about why this rowing course matters. New opportunities for sports groups to come in, things that we've never been able to go after before. Because we now have this facility to do it. So we will be there studying throughout those 9 days on Ford Lake, and we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, outstanding opportunity. AnnArbor.org is a resource / sports commission. You can find out all of it. There's a calendar of events, so you'll see Row Fest on there. We've been featuring a lot of the AFC Ann Arbor calendar as well, as their season just opens up. One of the things that we featured on last week's edition of Droppin Dimes, and I want you to highlight this, Megan, before you go, the partnership that you guys have with Epic Races Ann Arbor, where kids 13 and under get to participate in events for free. So highlight that for the people.
Yes, so we have partnered with Epic Races this year, who they have triathlons, they have running races, they have just a swimming race, but we are partnering with them to create an opportunity for the community for kids to race free with a registration of an adult. My daughter actually just started taking an interest in running, which is pretty good because she's not the most athletically able child. So I think running could be in her wheelhouse pretty good. Where I'm hoping to register for a race and have her go with me. And it's a great entry point for kids and families to do something together and be active together. So you can find more information on our Facebook page. We also on Epic Races, and we're really excited about this opportunity. And you can also reach out to me directly, mhughes@annarbor.org, if you would like to be a part of this. But we're just really, Epic Races does great things in the community. They support nonprofits if you volunteer. And actually, I believe Tim and I are going to sign up for the Epic Races half marathon together. We've not officially signed up, but it's this fall. And now we have to, Tim. I've made it official by putting it
now
on
the
this
public
podcast
knows.
out
We'll
to
be
the
there.
world. So
Tim, are you a runner, Tim?
I've become one in the last year. I just ran my second marathon 2 weeks ago, so the half should be fine.
Yeah. So you're okay. You're okay.
Yes, I'll be just fine.
Yeah, you're not one of those occasional runners like me that you hear half marathon, you're like, oh my God.
No, it feels it's attainable. Everybody can do one.
Okay, I got you. Well, the great thing about Epic Races, though, to not intimidate people, is they really appeal to people of every level, to beginner, to to intermediate folks, to really elite athletes. So it's something for every level of athlete when you participate in an Epic Races event. So that's what's great.
Yes.
Yeah. So, guys, it is always a ton of fun when you come on. Very informative and very exciting, because there's always something on the horizon when it comes to sporting events in this community. So thanks a lot for joining us again.
Thank you for having us,
Thank
Sam.
you.
Thank you, Tim, for joining me today.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks a lot. $226.7 million. The economic impact of Michigan football. Immense the impact of Michigan football on this area. It cannot be underscored. It cannot be overstated just how important Michigan football is to this area. I mean, you talk about how important it is to the athletic department, how important it is to making the engine that is the University of Michigan athletics go. Well, Southeastern Michigan, the economy that is the Washtenaw County economy, making it go. Michigan football is a major engine. You see the numbers there, 2,191 total jobs here locally supported by Michigan football, 100,496 jobs or hotel rooms, and an average of $256.34 per game, per spectator from outsiders coming in from outside of Washtenaw County. That is just immense. So every game, absolutely crucial. These are the numbers, according to our friends at the Ann Arbor Sports Commission. So you talk about an industry. Michigan football is an industry all its own. And you got an entire area that relies upon it. So, thank you to the Sports Commission for providing those numbers. We appreciate them and their partnership and sponsorship for us here at Droppin Dimes. That is going to do it for us here today. Be back next week, breaking it all down for you. We're going to be back with the Recruiting Insider as well, as the Wolverines just picked up a commitment. As Moose Ludwig is in the fold, we think that's just getting the ball rolling, as the official visit season is officially underway. It is kicking into high gear now. We expect the Wolverines to be adding more to the fold here in the coming weeks, as more guys are set to hit campus. So be on the lookout for that. Another episode of the Recruiting Insider, as we'll start to pick that up. So we appreciate that. Thanks for watching another edition of Steady Droppin Dimes. We'll see you next time, folks.